Ну что ж, ребят, начинаем прохождение игры The Stories... Нет, Stories The Path of Destinies. Вообще, вроде как переводится «Пути судьбы». Ну, поехали. Я немножко, пока на сторочке лазил и так далее, начитал новую игру, поэтому сейчас мы начнем по новой.
Once upon a time, the infamous rover Reynardo plundered the floating isles. Then his mother called him to her deathbed. "Swear to me that you won't die on the gallows," she rasped. Reluctantly, he swore. And he whiled away his days at home with music, cards, and wine. But the Emperor had changed. He'd been good once, a shy, almost humble toad. He'd built universities. Then people started whispering about mass graves in the woods, midnight rituals, victims screaming. The Imperial Ravens would round up entire villages, and no one ever returned. The Ravens had come to Ubar scouting for ancient books said to be of great power. But the librarians had hidden the books, so they'd burnt the librarians. The citizens, outraged, had driven them off. The Ravens had come back with dropships. The kid had fled with one of those books. He was brave and dumb and wanted to join the rebellion. And Reynardo had promised his mother he'd protect him.
На будущее, когда здесь будет сюжетный выбор, вы можете в чате писать, какую сторону мне выбрать, и исходя из тех сообщений, которых будет больше в чате за какой-то вариант, тот путь я буду выбирать. Здесь по сюжетным ответвлениям немного идет всегда возможность выбора.
The kid was looking down, watching his city burn. "Sorry, kid," Reynardo told the kid. "Look, if we give them the book, they'll leave you alone." "My mother died for this book!" "I promised her I'd protect you." "Oh, damn it." The kid had run off. With the book, of course. So Reynardo had to run after him.
Небольшое прохождение есть. Побежали мы за этим кроликом. По-моему, да, это кролик, не зайчик.
The two ravens were staring at the kid like he was their dinner, which probably was what was in their tiny brains. "Hey," Reynardo said. They cocked their heads at him. "Pick on someone as ugly as you." Wait, that didn't come out right. "For the Emperor!" The ravens cawed and rushed at him. A dropship flew overhead. He hoped they hadn't noticed him. The kid.
Такой разрушенный мир в облаках.
Oh, right. The Gate of Heroes. Someone's idea of a joke, making the skyship docks a gated community. You needed a hero's sword to open it. And the kid was on the other side of the gate. "Who let you through? Promise me you'll take the book to the rebels, or I'm gonna steal your ship. I'm not taking the damn book anywhere, and neither are you." "Try and stop me," laughed the kid. "I bet you don't even have a hero's sword." And with that, the kid hopped away. Had to hand it to the kid. He was an idiot, but he had guts. Where was Renato going to get a hero
И
sword?
тут, конечно же, можем сделать меч героя.
Or
Так что в игре есть еще и карта.
wind essence? Perfect. A hero sword. QED. This is what he got for settling down and finding people to care about. The kid's mum had been a swell cook and she'd laughed at Renato's jokes, even when he didn't know he'd made one. And then the ravens had come to burn her. And she'd made him promise to protect the kid.
С нас взяли
But she never told him where the
этого
book
зайчика.
was. Just the kid.
Мама его перед смертью.
He came up to a ledge. It was too far to jump. There'd been a bridge here before, hadn't there? And there was Peter, giggling at him. How'd you get across? He asked the kid. Where'd you find a hook? I hopped, said the kid. Wise-ass kid. Hey, look out behind you! Cute, said Renato. Ah, ravens. It was time to talk some sense into the kid. Just hook his way across the ledge and chase the kid down. Thing was, he hadn't used his hook since he'd retired. Damn it. Maybe if he meditated at that altar there, he'd remember his old skills.
При каждом повышении уровня вы получаете одну очко умений. Чтобы получить новые полезные умения и улучшить имеющиеся, тратьте очки умений на алтарях. Описание уровней, описание умений и очко умений у нас есть.
It was starting to come back to him. Something you never completely forgot, like how to freeze time when attacking. The more he fought, the more he'd probably remember. And there was the Farfarer. She was the fastest ship he'd ever known. She could do the Kestra run in 12 furlongs. Oh, so the salesman had told him. And something told him the kid was about to walk into an ambush. Stop! He shouted. I'm not giving you the book! Shouted the kid, and took off. No! Peter! But the kid ran for it. And a goggler nailed him with its ivy. The book was unburned. Next to it were the buckles from the kid's shoes, and a kid-sized pile of ashes. Damn it, why hadn't he lied and told the kid he'd take the book to the rebels? The kid would be alive now. Really pissed off and betrayed, but alive. Oh, damn it. Renato picked up the book. He couldn't let the Empire have it now. He was going to have to get it out of there. He'd be a wanted man. Probably have to join the rebellion just to have a place to dock. Well, he'd hated home life anyway. What was the big deal about this book anyway? Maybe he should open it and find out. All that had been years ago. How many? The war was a blur, and now 3 Raven scout ships were chasing him. Where are you running, rebel? Cawed the Raven captain over the loud hailer. Renato could see them cranking up their catapults. Just going out for milk? Renato yelled back. Where can you run? Laughed the Raven horribly. Far behind him, another city was burning. The dark cloud above its island was thousands of Imperial ships. the fleet was doing a thorough job.
Take us to the rebel base, and we'll spare your life!
It called. The entire jury-rigged rebel fleet was only a few islands to the east. Beyond that were only the pillars of heaven, a sea of endless blood-colored tornadoes. The rebellion was out of time, unless Reynardo could bring a game-changer. Maybe he could. Reynardo had found out where he could find the pieces of the Sky Ripper, the legendary weapon that had exiled the lost gods. Surely a legendary weapon could win the final battle. On the other hand, his old friend Lapino had sent Reynardo a desperate message saying he had a brilliant scheme to save the rebellion. If Reynardo could only rescue him. Reynardo dived the Farfarer towards the abyss. As he felt the heat of the jet stream, the Raven ships peeled off, not stable enough to follow him down there. Now it was time to choose. Lapino or the Sky Ripper.
Ну что, ребят, перед вами первый сюжетный поворот. Что мы будем делать? Будем пробовать создать неборез, древний артефакт, победивший забытых богов. Он был разделен на две части много лет назад, и Ренардо мог воссоздать его, найдя каркас. Либо мы спасем старого друга, Лапина, который мог подойти с безрассудными затеями, чтобы спасти, точнее остановить эту войну. Давайте как бы голосуйте в чате. И где же ваше предложение?
Евгений Бровкин. Лапина за интересные повороты в сюжете обязан отвечать. Судя по описанию, я выбираю Лапина.
Так, один голос за Лапина. Еще предложение. Давайте еще подождем полминутки. Я делаю выбор в пользу Лапина, потому что кроме Жени никто ничего не сказал. Ну что ж, давайте выбираем.
Ah, Lapino. Apparently the mad rabbit had sold a Pegasus that he did not exactly own. Lapino always wiggled out of trouble given time, but he was out of time. The Ravens had figured out that Lapino was a rebel spy. If the fleet reached him first, they'd string him up for that. Never mind the winged horse. Lapino had apparently managed to confuse the judge by arguing that he hadn't actually stolen a winged horse. He'd only sold it. But wait, where was the prison? The village was empty. Had everybody fled the ravens? There were stickers all over the platform for really hot lady foxes, with pictures and addresses and everything. The ravens had taken the town. Renato had seen villages emptied like this, all the people taken away to be sacrificed in the Emperor's secret rituals. Renato hoped the people were just hiding. Firewalls only let you through if they think you're hot enough. Said the lead raven. Ravens were landing everywhere. The advance guard. He'd better get moving. If they got to Lapino first, they'd eat him for breakfast. Or a snack. Ravens weren't picky. If they got hungry, they sometimes forgot to interrogate their prisoners. Even top spies like Lapino. Where had the mad rabbit got to? Renato felt like he was ready to learn new things. It was starting to come back to him. Something you never completely forgot, like how to freeze time when attacking. The more he fought, the more he'd probably remember. Ready to become faster, stronger, bolder. If only he could figure out which.
Евгений Бровкин. Полезные ресурсы только в сундуках.
Оп, ошибка. Сейчас быстренько перезапустим. Оп. Да, нет, полезные ресурсы в бочках тоже бывают. Вот этот Engine 4. Очень такой неприятный движок, мне вообще не нравится.
Lapino had apparently managed to confuse the judge by arguing that he hadn't actually stolen a winged horse. He'd only sold it. But wait, where was the prison? The village was empty. Had everybody fled the ravens? No skateboarding, the sign said. People were frightened these days. Just 2 weeks past, Renato had sneaked through an empty town and listened to the ravens caw about the Emperor's new taste in ritual sacrifice. He wasn't that good. Yet. Ravens were landing everywhere. The advance guard. He'd better get moving. If they got to Lapino first, they'd eat him for breakfast. Or a snack. Ravens weren't picky. If they got hungry, they sometimes forgot to interrogate their prisoners. Even top spies like Lapino. Where had the mad rabbit got to? It was starting to come back to him. Something you never completely forgot, like how to freeze time when attacking. The more he fought, the more he'd probably remember. Renato felt a chill run down his back. Or possibly a flea.
А вот и наш
Dirty
ролик.
and bloody, Renato finally reached Lapino. The rabbit was practicing his shuffle. Renato recognized the cards. It was Lapino's favorite deck. Oh, I thought you were in danger. I am. The ravens are coming. Oh, the prison thing. Right, yeah, see, this guard owed me 53 ducats, so we made a deal. They're very reasonable people, actually, for weasels. Now, I got a brilliant plan to kidnap Zenobia. We capture Zenobia, we find out what she knows, and that's the whole war right there. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Capture the Emperor's greatest general, who also happened to be a deadly sorcerer and, oh, his only daughter. That would be worth it. On the other hand, he could still get to the core of the Sky Ripper, even if he couldn't get the whole thing. It must have great power.
Ну что, выбираем? Будем глаз забытого бога искать? Или будем красть единственную дочь императора и величайшую из его генералов? И молчание в чате. Ну, так как все молчат, я выбираю первый вариант.
Zenobia wasn't just the Emperor's daughter, of course. She'd been Renato's best friend in Swordfu School. And you're still mad for her, the rabbit reminded him. They'd been close. She'd told him things no one else knew. But she'd never told him who she really was. She knows all the Emperor's plans, chuckled the master spy. She won't give them up easily. She'll tell the interrogators, all right, said Lapino. Taking her would change the game, all right.
Задумывалась как шуточное. Выбирай принцессу.
Что-то сходит с ума игра. Но выбор мы уже сделали, поэтому все будет нормально.
Евгений Бровкин, тут есть минутная задержка стрима через ВК, так что не торопись с выводами.
Хорошо.
Dirty and bloody, Renato finally reached Lapino. The rabbit was practicing. We capture Zenobia, we find out what she knows, and that's the whole war right there. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Capture the Emperor's greatest general, who also happened to be a deadly sorcerer and, oh, his only daughter. That would be worth it. On the other hand, he could still get to the core of the Sky Ripper, even if he couldn't get the whole thing. It must have great power. Zenobia wasn't just the Emperor's daughter, of course. She'd been Renado's best friend in Swordfu school. And you're... The city was already under Zenobia's control. I had to admire her efficiency. Renato shivered at the thought of Zenobia at the mercy of the interrogators. Could he really turn her over to them? But this was war. It wasn't meant to be pretty.
Can't we just agree to disagree? Said Renato. No?
Two eyes good. One eye dead. So, what's this plan of yours? Use me as bait, said Lupino. And he outlined a slightly complicated plan that involved geese, a net, setting the Farfarer a little bit on fire, Lupino dressing as an old blind toad, and Renato hiding inside a monstrous watermelon. What could possibly go wrong? Thought Renato.
Итак, осуществить план Лапина с гусями, сетью, огнем, жабой и арбузом или не время для безрассудных планов? Так как Женя за Лапина, думаю, мы выберем первый этот, потому что остальные что-то молчат.
Oh, this is gonna be fun, said Lupino, as he ran to go set up his marvelous plan. If I craft a sword now, it's going to be really short.
Евгений Бровкин. Интересно посмотреть на эмоции кролика, когда ему откажут, а пробует второй.
Ну, Женя, не в этот раз. И ошибка на ошибке. Что мне нравится? Ошибка на ошибке. Сколько идет трансляция? 38 минут? Да, даже не знаю, Роскомнадзор это проблема или что. Если еще одна такая ошибка появится, хотя не было ни одной ошибки, когда я без трансляции пробовал проходить, то, блин, к сожалению, придется закончить. Не то так стрим просто не пойдет.
The city was already under Zenobia's control. I had to admire her efficiency. Renato shivered at the thought of Zenobia at the mercy of the interrogators. Could he really turn her over to them? But this was war. It wasn't meant to be pretty. Hero wall, hero sword, ice wall, ice cube. Huh? A lever? That was new. Most people still use doorknobs. So, what's this plan of yours? Use me as bait, said Lupino. And he outlined a slightly complicated plan that involved geese, a net, setting the Farfarer a little bit on fire, Lupino dressing as an old blind toad, and Renato hiding inside a monstrous watermelon. What could possibly go wrong? Thought Renato.
Можешь просто записать прохождение на моментах выбора Лизая Кубик, чтобы от тебя сюжет не зависел.
Said Lupino, as he ran to go set up his marvelous plan. Renato's blood was up. He just needed to smash something. Renato felt dubious about the whole plan. With every step, he was waiting for it all to go horribly wrong. But against all odds, Peppino's idiotic plan worked. Zenobia's ravens ran off after the geese, the net dropped, and Renato jumped out of the watermelon and put his sword to Zenobia's throat. "Renato," she said, "are those new scars? They look good on you. You never returned my velvet jacket. It was my favorite. You look stupid in velvet. Oh, what does an imperial princess know about style? Oh, get a room, you two," said Latino. But the fleet was coming on fast, so they put Zenobia on the Farfarer and took her east over the Nexus. She'd vanished from Swordfu School, from his life, without even saying goodbye, without ever telling him she was the Emperor's adopted daughter. Ah, Lapina was right, Renato thought reluctantly. She knows things. She recognized his look. "You're taking me to the interrogators, aren't you?" she said, wide-eyed. And then she jumped, with horror. Renato saw Zenobia plummeting. Then he saw the Nexus below them. Cats always land on their feet. "Ah, she'll head for the Imperial outpost," yelled Lapino. "You have to catch her."
Евгений Бровкин тут, кажется, можно набивать начальное комбо на всяких ломаемых предметах за 5 секунд до боя.
Cats can run faster, but foxes can run longer. If he ran, he could head her off before she reached her minions at the outpost. Well, he did love a good chase. Building these platforms was so expensive, they'd run out of budget for guardrails. Who needed bridges anyway? terror of the sandcastles when he was 2. He was closing on her. He could smell her fear. He tried not to think about the interrogators at the secret base. What did they do to her? Maybe it didn't have to end that way. Maybe he could talk to her. But, after all, there were worse things the Imperials had done to friends of his. A crafting bench. Renato wondered what he could make with it. Renato reached the outpost. The Imperials there were no match for him. Soon after, Zenobia limped up the path. When she realized he was already in front of her, she didn't even try to run. "Oh, you left without saying goodbye." Again, he said, "Please, I'm enjoying this a little too much." She said, shaken, "Oh, spare us the chit-chat, would you?" said Lapino as he shackled her hands so she couldn't throw spells. She knows all his plans. All the way back to the Farfarer, Lapino nagged Renato about how the interrogators would pry all the intel out of Zenobia. How that would turn the tides in the imminent battle. All they had to do was take her to the rebels' secret base. Renato didn't like to think about what the interrogators would do to her. Couldn't he just talk to her?
Ну что, выберем доставить ее на базу дознавателей, либо попробуем поговорить.
особенное знает, что не вытянешь разговором обычным, на пол ее с дознавателями.
Почему ты такой жестокий? Тем более она не пыталась свалить.
The ruins, Renato could see ravens everywhere, searching for the rebel base. They'd have to hide the Farfarer or go on foot. What if we get separated? Asked Lapino, for once thinking ahead. I'll show you a map to the base. Renato told Lapino. Renato? Don't do this, said Zenobia. We were friends once. We... Shut it, witch, or I'll shackle your mouth too, said Lapino. And then, a few moments later, they touched down. As Lapino pulled Zenobia off the Farfarer, Renato readied himself for the battle ahead. I'm sorry I nicked your jacket, she said. It's just... It's stupid, but... It smelled like you. What? He said, confused. Then... Why didn't you write? Why didn't you first speak? Oh, save the romantic nostalgia. Let's go! Shrieked Lapino. So Renato launched himself down the path to the secret base. Once, he found a Superman issue #1 in mint condition in a jar he'd broken. He planned to keep breaking things until he had the whole series.
Иначе не проканает. Так что извините, ждите позже прохождения. Потому что краш и краш и краш.